Hi guys, is there a Boris Johnson Mark II type figure sitting on the Tory backbenches ready to turn things around for the Conservatives? Well, that's the question polling expert Sir John Curtice asked when he appeared on Times Radio. The name Penny Mordaunt was presented but was quickly dismissed. Are things too far gone for the Conservatives, or can they replace Rishi Sunak quickly and put in place someone who's a good campaigner and as charismatic as Boris Johnson?
And the hope, of course, was that Mr. Sunak, being at least relatively less unpopular than certainly Ms. Truss or by this stage Boris Johnson, would be able to turn things around. The problem is that rather than the popularity of the Conservative Party climbing back up to the relatively benign levels enjoyed by Mr. Sunak when he first became Prime Minister, his personal popularity has been dragged down to the level of unpopularity of his party. And indeed, Mr. Sunak on some measures now is even less popular than John Major was, 6, 7, 8 months before an election. So the truth is, changing the leader last time did not work. Now, contrary to that, of course, what you can argue, well, the Conservative Party was in deep electoral trouble in the spring of 2019. They turned to Boris Johnson, and that helped to turn things around. But the question you then have to ask yourself at present is, well, who is the Boris Johnson Mark II sitting on the Conservative benches? The person who is highly charismatic, a well-proven, effective campaigner who might be able to take this virtually near impossible situation and turn things around. And I would suggest to you, Ed, that it is not clear.
Well, it's Penny Mordaunt, John. It's Penny Mordaunt, surely.
Penny Mordaunt does not have the level of charisma that Boris Johnson enjoys. She is nothing like as well known as Boris Johnson was by the spring of 2019.
So John Curtice.
Okay. Penny Mordaunt is not the choice. Now, we have to remember back in 2019, it wasn't just Boris Johnson that won the Tories an 80-seat majority. It was also Brexit. And now Brexit is gone and Boris Johnson is gone. And the whole feeling in 2019 was completely different. And the issues facing the public were completely different. So even if the Tories could bring back Boris Johnson, I don't think he'd be anywhere near as successful as he was in 2019. Now, is there someone on the back benches or on the front benches that could rival Boris Johnson? So this is from YouGov. It's the most popular Conservatives in the first quarter of 2024. And you can see here, it's some pretty bad news. The most popular Conservative is Boris Johnson. So Boris Johnson, no longer an MP, lost his seat, didn't run in the by-election, was too afraid, ran away. Next in line is Penny Mordaunt, but you can see there's a bit of a gulf there between 30% popularity and 26%, followed by John Major, Michael Heseltine, Suella Braverman, Priti Patel. So the most popular Tory who's still an MP would be Penny Mordaunt, but that's not massive popularity here. What's interesting is who is the most popular politician in Britain? And you can see here Nigel Farage, Keir Starmer, David Blunkett, Boris Johnson, Gordon Brown, Penny Mordaunt. So Nigel Farage, for some reason, is the most popular politician in Britain at the moment. Now, this could help Reform UK if he runs, but for the Conservatives, this isn't going to help them. There's no good news here at all. The most popular politician, Boris Johnson, is no longer an MP. And he can campaign for them if they're able to convince him to do that. But he's not campaigning for himself. And that's what he was doing in 2019. He was campaigning as leader of the party. But, you're not going to get Boris Johnson to campaign in the same way for the Conservatives this time around. So there is no one. There is no Boris Johnson Mark II. So the Tories are likely to crash and burn. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.